Hello, my name is Owen Ashley. My speech is gonna be about caffeine, and my goal for this speech is that by the end of this presentation, I hope to give all of you viewers a much better understanding of caffeine. So, first off, I'm gonna tell you what happens when you drink coffee. Let's say. So when you drink a cup of coffee, it goes down your throat and then passes through your stomach and liver, getting processed, and then it goes into your bloodstream. Now, once in your bloodstream, caffeine travels up to your brain, and then caffeine passes through what we call your brain wall or your brain filter. And once caffeine's in your brain, it plugs up what we call adenosine receptors. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what adenosine receptors are and what adenosine is. So adenosine and caffeine look identical. They have the same shape and the same size. And what caffeine does is it blocks adenosine. And then caffeine itself combines with the adenosine receptors. Now, the adenosine receptors trigger relaxation, so this is why when caffeine is in your bloodstream or brain, you have a much harder chance of falling asleep, and it takes a lot longer because caffeine is plugging up your adenosine receptors. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit of the benefits of caffeine. So you're more alert, enhanced performance. Studies have even shown that when you drink caffeine a lot, you have a lower chance of getting type 2 diabetes. For athletes, caffeine it helps your endurance, and it uses your body fat for fuels. And last, caffeine boosts your attention span and memory. Now, I just said caffeine boosts your memory, right? Well, now I'm going to tell you a little research that a research group did. So a research group took 150 people, and they showed them pictures of everyday objects, so like a rubber duck, for instance, or something. And then, after they showed those people those pictures, they gave some of them caffeine and others a placebo, and then once they did that, they came back 24 hours later, after the caffeine had been processed, and what the researchers found was the people that were administered caffeine actually retained much more and got many more of the objects right than the people that were administered the placebo. So what this showed was what we call memory consolidation. And what memory consolidation is when memory consolidation is when it's when you take memories and it gets strengthened. So after that, some drawbacks of caffeine would be an accelerated heart rate. Caffeine can cause or increase anxiety. It inhibits sleep or rest. 1 to 3 cups of coffee a day can increase your blood pressure. And finally, caffeine can be addictive. So, the addiction aspect of caffeine is I don't know the exact word for it, but let's say you drink coffee your first time for about 2 months, let's say. And you only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. Now, after those 2 months, you need 2 cups of coffee a day for the same boost of caffeine. And caffeine keeps doing this because your body gets used to that shot of caffeine, and then your body needs more. So after 2 months, you need 2 cups, and then after 6 months, maybe you'll need 3 cups. I saw one person had drinking caffeine for a very long time, and they needed 8 shots of espresso every day to do their job. That's what he needed. Now, this is actually just really bad because you really can't do that to your body. That totally, it's very hard for your body to metabolize 2 cups of coffee a day, let's say, never mind 8 shots of espresso. Now, another thing would be, let's say I buy a Starbucks coffee. Now, in the old days, like when caffeine was just getting big, you'd have a cup of plain coffee or like black coffee. Now, when you go buy a Starbucks coffee, let's say, they want milk and they put sugars, and that's artificial sugars or just sugar, and they put creams and milks and flavorings like mocha or caramel and plenty of other stuff. And your body already has a very tough time, as I've said, metabolizing caffeine. Now, when you have all those sugars and sweeteners, that makes it very hard on your body and very hard for your body to metabolize all this. So this is a thing that's just starting to get out, that it's actually been really hard on our bodies. And finally, a good substitute for coffee is teas, because there are 68 different berries and leaves that have caffeine, that obviously have caffeine, that they're caffeine leaves. But tea, there's plenty of different kinds of teas, and most of these teas are good for you, and actually the longer you brew your tea, or the different temperatures you brew your tea at, actually changes the dose of caffeine. So you could look up, like, I don't know the exact right time or temperature that would be an efficient dose, but it's actually a healthy dose of caffeine, and it'd be good for you. I hope you've learned something from this presentation, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. I was just waiting to smile, so I was